People think crying easily means you're emotionally weak. But most of the time, your nervous system reacted before your social mask ever did. That's why tiny moments can destroy you for hours, while everyone else moves on in minutes. A shift in tone, a kind sentence, one strange look across the room. There's a reason your brain keeps emotional residue longer than other people. And once you see the pattern, a lot of your exhaustion starts making sense. You're in a normal conversation. Someone says something unexpectedly sincere. Your throat tightens immediately. So you look down for a second, clear your throat, maybe rub your eye casually like something got in it. Meanwhile, the other person keeps talking normally. That part always gets you. How fast your body reacts compared to everyone else. You're not even fully sad. You just suddenly feel too emotionally exposed for a moment that wasn't supposed to matter this much. And afterward, you replay the whole interaction alone like your nervous system never actually left it. This usually gets explained as being too sensitive, but that explanation misses what's actually happening inside your brain and body. Because people like you don't just notice emotion differently, you stay neurologically connected to it longer. If this feels uncomfortably familiar already, stay with me. This gets more specific, because the first thing you need to understand is this. Your body often reacts before your mind has time to catch up. You know that moment when your voice almost cracks unexpectedly? Suddenly, you're spending more energy managing your facial expressions than actually holding the conversation. When you receive sincere feedback, your throat tightens before you can even process the words. You find yourself staring upward, pretending to be deep in thought just to keep the tears from falling. Sometimes, you casually rub your eye to hide the fact that you're being affected. Or you might give a light, awkward laugh to mask the intensity of what you're feeling. These reactions don't feel cinematic or beautiful. They're socially inconvenient. Your nervous system reacts before your social mask even has a chance to catch up. Your brain flags emotional meaning at an incredible speed. Long before logic can organize the moment, your body has already made its move. You felt it before you understood it. The cost of this is that you are constantly monitoring your own face in every sensitive situation. Even a simple act of kindness can feel like a risk you need to manage. You're using so much mental power just to appear composed. Most people don't realize how often you rehearse looking normal. And that is the very first thing people misunderstand about you. Some people leave a conversation and move on immediately. But you leave carrying the entire emotional atmosphere home with you. You walk into a crowded restaurant and instead of enjoying the vibe, you feel drained by the invisible chaos. You instantly notice the tension between two people, even though they're both smiling. You hear the irritation hidden under the words, "I'm fine," and that tone replays in your head for hours. You find yourself analyzing the smallest shift in someone's voice long after the meeting is over. Your nervous system filters less emotional data than others. Small signals that should fade into the background stay active in your mind. Instead of disappearing, they stick to you like static electricity. You leave ordinary interactions feeling mentally overloaded. People might think you're overreacting, but that's only because they never absorbed what you absorbed. That look stayed with you all night. You're not reacting to one single moment. You're reacting to 50 details all happening at once. Did nobody else notice how weird that interaction actually was? Most likely no. And the thing is, noticing the emotion isn't even the exhausting part. Some people witness emotion from a distance, but your nervous system walks directly into it barefoot. You feel a heavy weight after someone vents to you. Your entire mood shifts the moment you walk into a tense room. You might even find yourself crying after witnessing a random act of kindness between strangers. After any emotionally intense conversation, the only thing you crave is total silence. Your brain mirrors emotional energy automatically. It doesn't stop at understanding, it simulates. It recreates that emotional state inside your own body. You end up carrying emotional residue that doesn't even belong to you. Your body stays activated long after the event has ended. You feel a deep, physical exhaustion that sleep can't always fix. You confuse emotional exposure with emotional closeness. Your body keeps emotional tabs open long after everyone else has closed theirs. Why do you still feel this hours later? Because you didn't just observe the moment, you absorbed it. And eventually, your brain starts treating emotional vigilance like survival. Nobody had to scream at you for your brain to learn that emotions were dangerous. Sometimes, one look was enough. You learned to swallow your tears while standing in a public space. You spent minutes in bathroom mirrors trying to regain your composure before walking back out. You remember being told to stop being dramatic, so you looked down, trying to make your feelings invisible. Your brain linked emotional expression with rejection or embarrassment. Now, your nervous system treats vulnerability like exposure to a threat. You don't just feel your emotions anymore. You manage them. You hide them, and you apologize for them constantly. Your inner voice is always whispering, "Don't make this visible." You became emotionally quiet before you became emotionally calm. You're exhausted partly because you never stop self-monitoring. You're spending every second trying to look like you're okay, even when you're not. Most people don't realize how much energy it takes just to stay still. But there's another uncomfortable part that nobody mentions. You keep calling yourself empathetic, but sometimes you're just emotionally overexposed. You stay available for emotionally draining people even when you have nothing left to give. You check your messages repeatedly after a tense moment, needing to know where you stand. You carry heavy conversations all the way into your bedtime. And then, you feel guilty just for needing some distance. Your brain confuses emotional awareness with emotional responsibility. You absorb everything first and try to filter it much later. Your nervous system stays permanently overexposed to the world's noise. You become emotionally crowded internally, leaving no room for your own peace. Am I becoming cold if I pull away? Not every emotion deserves residency inside your body. Your openness became a doorway without a lock. You're holding on to feelings that were never yours to carry. Most people don't realize that being aware of an emotion doesn't mean you have to host it. And this is where most people choose the wrong solution. You don't need thicker skin, you need fewer emotional intrusions. You start craving silence after every social interaction. You leave your phone unanswered for a while without the weight of guilt. You begin choosing calmer environments with intention. You find yourself feeling safer around people who are emotionally regulated. You used to think that protecting yourself meant becoming colder. But the truth is, your nervous system performs better when you reduce the overload. When you change your environment, you change the quality of your thoughts. Without boundaries, your sensitivity turns into chronic exhaustion. But with protection, your perception becomes a tool instead of a wound. Quiet is not weakness. Your nervous system was never built for constant emotional traffic. You don't need to become numb to the world. You just need to be more selective about what reaches your inner self. And this is where you begin to reframe who you really are. You spent years trying to become harder to affect. Meanwhile, your nervous system was begging for recovery, not suppression. You sit alone decompressing after social events, mistaking your emotional exhaustion for weakness. But that fatigue isn't a flaw. It's the result of carrying intense emotional weight without protection, without language, or without recovery. Awareness without regulation becomes overload, but awareness with boundaries becomes clarity. Without understanding this, you keep treating yourself like the malfunction. You realize now, so that's why I've been tired for years. You were overloaded, not broken. Your sensitivity was never the wound. Your lack of protection was. You finally recognize the patterns instead of apologizing for them. You don't need to change how you feel. You just need to change what you allow to stay. Because at the end of the day, not every emotion deserves residency inside your body. But sometimes this need for protection turns into something else entirely. It turns into a total withdrawal from the world. The problem was never that you felt too much. It's that your nervous system stayed emotionally open long after the moment ended. You spent years trying to become less affected instead of learning how to recover. You're likely the person who notices the shift in someone's tone before anyone else does. And then you carry it home quietly. Your nervous system remembers what other people emotionally discard. I have a question for you. What drains you faster? Emotional tension or pretending you're unaffected by it? If these videos help you recognize patterns you couldn't explain before, stay close. There's more we need to unpack about emotional withdrawal, overstimulation, and why some people slowly disappear socially without even realizing it. Some people leave a conversation and fully leave it. You don't always get that luxury.